Good morning.
Good morning, man. How are you doing?
So far, so good. God.
What
So
is the
what?
date today? May 14th?
Yeah, I think so. God,
Wow.
yeah, I've been back in North Bay. We got back in the 21st of March from the
Where were
West.
you?
Well, I was in British Columbia for 6 weeks, but then when this COVID thing started, we decided to come home a little early because we thought we might get stuck out there if they canceled flights. And luckily, we did come home a bit early. So we've been stuck here in North Bay since.
Oh, you had a wild trip back too. I think I saw a post where you it wasn't smooth sailing, man.
Oh no, man! It was a trip from hell, but at least we got home. Felt a lot better about that.
Right on. Cool. The last time we saw each other, I think, actually, was when you recommended I try out that being an extra in that movie.
Yes, and you never did pay me for that.
I think you got an extra magazine, didn't you?
I think I did, and I'm not going to question that at all. Yeah, that was called Cold Strings.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was actually talking to the director, and I was in BC, and he was going to come here in April and show it to everybody that worked on it. But because of COVID-19, I guess everything is up in the air now, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Do they have a release for it, date or
Not,
plan?
yeah, not that I know of. I know he wanted to try some of the festivals. Now, whether or not the festivals are going to be a go or not, I'm not sure. But he was definitely trying for TIFF in Toronto and Cinefest in Sudbury because it's a Northern Ontario film. So we'll just have to wait and see. I guess it's a matter of being patient at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I guess so. Eh? Well, you can't control that. We found out very well that we can't control anything.
I know, God, isn't it amazing? I've
Everyone's plans are washed right away.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like we find that we even get our groceries. We call them, we order them online and everything, and then pick them up. We're getting to be lazy people, basically. All I've been doing is watching Netflix, and we're running out of films to watch. So
Yeah, no, it gets sort of dry. So you even started writing there, and you wanted to do a column about the industry, right?
yeah, yeah, it kind of struck me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know, that's probably the best time to think. I wake up early in the morning. Usually, I'm up by 4 or 5. And I started to think about all the stuff that's going on in the industry. And now that I'm no longer an agent, I feel that I can talk a bit more about it. As an agent, if I open my mouth too much, then my people had a tendency to get blacklisted. Yeah, so I basically shut up very early in the game.
I have that problem with my particular my columns and stuff. The
Yeah,
stuff that I say, it
yeah,
affects everybody around me. Right?
yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, if people would just discuss it with us as opposed to just taking a harsh stand the other way or going against what we say, it would be a hell of a lot easier. We could actually communicate with people.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I guess we have to train everybody to communicate,
yeah.
and that when we don't have the same opinion, that doesn't mean anything other
No,
than we don't have the same opinion.
it's
Right?
just unfortunate. People just don't listen to us. That's the only thing, eh?
Yeah, and then we have to speak louder and sharper for them to get their
Yeah,
attention. And
yeah, yeah, yeah. Volume does help in an argument, doesn't it? Yeah.
well, yeah, kind of for sure. But it was really interesting being on the set as an extra. But apparently, from what I saw of your first draft of your columns, that I'm not an actor now that I've been an extra.
Well, I'm sorry, Dave. It's the same thing as I'm not a writer. Just because I read some. Yeah, it's a really funny business, and I know a lot of people in North Bay are doing background work, and they think that they're acting. Well, they're a background actor. They're not an actor with quotation marks around it. And a lot of people, I think, depend upon background work for source of income. And now that the movies are pretty much gone, I don't know what these people are doing for money. I don't know whether they can apply for government assistance or not. But a lot of people I know were working 5, 6 days a week on different films.
Yeah, a lot of them would be eligible. A
Hmm.
lot of them would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would think that the ones who are actors, like the people who are non-union background, they make what is it, $14 an hour, I think it was. But if you're a member of ACTRA, you get $220 for an 8-hour day, and anything over that is time, then time and a half. So you can make a 5-day week. You're making $1,000 a week if you're
Right.
an, which is nice money. Well, we'll see what happens in the future, I guess.
So exactly $970 more than I made last week.
Well, as long as you can buy the occasional case of beer, you should be okay. Oh God.
I've been drinking a lot of water.
Yeah. Well, you were an actor. I mean, I was totally enthralled by your performance. I thought you were bang on as a picketer. You've had experience, I'm sure.
Actually, I have. It was
So
funny being on the set with the picket. As a former union president, I wasn't on the picket line as a president or as a unionized employee, but I've covered a lot of picket lines as a reporter, right? So I guess I had a lot of sort of understanding what was going on there, and I saw everything that was going on wrong. But my voice didn't really matter too much, really. But it was interesting. It was interesting to see how everything took place. I don't want to say anything about it because there's confidentiality and whatnot involved. But I bet you movies could probably, or people that are producing these movies could probably benefit from having a little bit more consultation with people involved with those things. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, there's always there's a problem. Being a background actor, you're at the lowest person on the totem pole, as it were. And I know a lot of my people did background work, and they come back with complaints, and usually it's about the food or about the working conditions. And it's being a background actor is like it's way down the list of priorities, and it's one of the most important jobs on a film set. And I was just reading that a lot of the Hollywood films now are writing out actors, background actors. They're writing scenes without the need for background personnel. And if they do need background personnel, they can do it as a CGI. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in the long run with background performers. Might have been your swan song, Dave.
Yeah, well, that might have been my first and last, I guess. I definitely wasn't counting it as part of my budget. So,
but it was fun. I mean, what the heck? You get to meet.
Sure was.
Yeah.
I thought the people with the Coldplay production treated us really well, and I had no complaints in that regard at all. I was talking about things like, well, I know how to get a barrel fire going, and I know how to do it without, any problems.
For you, yeah.
But I'm a bit of a pyromaniac, so that was sort of a learned skill.
Well, there you see, you're able to pass on your skills to other people less fortunate. Good for you.
I can be a fire consultant.
Yeah, is there such a thing? Maybe a fire barrel consultant to narrow it down.
Yeah, specialties, man.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what you want to convey in what you're writing as your 3-part series there.
Well, basically, what I want to do is address a lot of the issues that I see in the film community. I mean, I have a couple of concerns about what's going on. I mean, I'm very supportive of the film industry, and as I said in my Facebook posting, there are certain directors here who really make an effort to promote Northern talent, and I feel that's the one place that's lacking in this whole movie industry is they're not promoting Northern actors. If you look at Derek, who directed the show that you were in, when he did Hard Rock Medical, he filmed, I think it was 60 to 70% of his actors he took from Northern Ontario. And then you get a show like Cardinal comes up, and it's a very big budget show, used a lot of background personnel, but hired very few local actors. I would think maybe 10 in 4 seasons. I could be wrong. But I mean, I was working on a film set once. Just give you an example of what goes on. And a friend of mine from Toronto came up and he looked at me and I said, "Gee, what are you doing in North Bay?" He said, "Well, they called me up last night. They flew me up, and I'm on set today. I've got 2 lines." And I kind of looked at him and he said to me, he said, "Don't they have any actors in North Bay that can do 2 lines?" And this is what we're dealing with. They would rather bring somebody up from Toronto who has done stuff for 2 lines, pay a big, what's the cost for airfare from Toronto to North Bay? That's pretty expensive. And then they got to pay the guy per diem and they got to pay his expenses. And they could hire a local actor and basically just pay him a salary and not have any other expenses. And I really wish they would promote Northern talent. And we've got some great actors in Northern Ontario, and I don't think they're getting a fair shake. I'm not worried about me because I'm at the end of my career. I've been doing this for 50 years, so I don't have another 50 years to go on it. But I look at these young guys, and they need a break. They really need a break.
Yeah. Well, that's a good cause to, you can die on that hill and be proud of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Yeah, and I guess that's what I was trying to do. And I just wanted people to be aware of what the industry is like and what it does for Northern Ontario. I think in future posts that I'm going to be doing, talk about the benefit that it brings to the city. And it's an economic benefit that's, bar none. I mean, you know yourself how many movies are shooting up here, 17, 18 a year. They're bringing in millions of dollars. And I mean, we get inconvenienced. Sometimes we can't park on our street because they're shooting on our street, but that's no big deal when you look at the grand scheme of things. Everybody has to, not sacrifice a little, but I think we have to give a little.
Well, my sense is that North Bay is pretty welcoming, and they understand that the industry is bringing a lot of money in. I think that was won over the last few years. Everybody's realizing, no, this is good. This is good to have, and even having the street shut down is not a big deal.
No.
I wonder how much of this COVID stuff is going to impact. Any thoughts of maybe we'll be a great place because we're one of the top communities as far as the lowest numbers, right, per capita. Maybe we can bill ourselves as the safest place to do a movie.
Safest place in Ontario. I think the problem is going to be similar to what I encountered in when I was in Toronto during 9/11. The industry basically shut down within a matter of days because people were afraid to get on a plane and fly. Yeah. And I think we're going to have the same problem here. We've got to get everybody from Southern Ontario up here. And right now, Air Canada doesn't seem to be running any flights. And for years, I was always lobbying, let's get Porter Air in here because it's a nice, cheap alternative to Air Canada. And I figured out how much money we could save bringing our people up on Porter. And what did they stay, a year and a half or something, and then left. So we're back to
as soon as well, I don't know the details, but they were getting a good price to be here, and it didn't. I guess they wanted more, right?
Yeah.
So that actually cost the community to have them here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the numbers. The airport's really hurting now. Nobody, everything's hurting now. Who could budget for this stuff, right?
You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the guy on the street. I mean, who's working day to day. You got a paycheck, and all of a sudden you don't have a paycheck. What the hell do you do? Where do you get the money from? I mean, it's tough all around. I don't know if the business is going to bounce back as good as it was before. I mean, I'd like to think so. I mean, we've got David Anselmo's up here, and he's got a studio, and he's got Hallmark movies. A long list of Hallmark movies they're going to do, provided we can get the people into North Bay. They've got a film studio they built in Powassan. We talked about that one now for When Hope Calls, and it's sitting there idle right now. So I'm not sure what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. It would be nice if the film industry did bounce back, but we'll see.
Well, I think maybe we could start with some major films on like one-actor films, right?
Hey, maybe there's something for you and I in there. You never know.
We could write a script that has a minimal amount of people, and it's all about isolation, and we could shoot it. You could do some creative stuff, and I'm not talking about, obviously you can't do a Hollywood production or anything like that, but I've seen some really cool stuff being put together remotely. People with just two camera angles talking with or playing. There's a Doobie Brothers song that they put together, Black Water. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
The multiple camera angles that they did just from their homes, and whoever mixed that together deserves an award, because that was one of the best isolation type videos I've ever seen. Yeah. Right?
There's a lot of stuff coming out, and yeah, you're right. They probably will have to rewrite stuff differently now, because they're not going to have the ability to draw in a lot of people to a particular film. I don't think we're going to get those great big budget, shoot 'em up explosion type films anymore. They're going to be pared down quite a bit. Thank God.
Well, video editors are going to be like gold. If they already were, but people because you're going to have to put together a whole bunch of stuff done on different cameras. You're going to have, right? Stuff is going to be shot elsewhere and had to be pieced together. I can only imagine the color correction and all that technical stuff, the magic that they do.
Yeah.
If you're a good video producer, wow, I think that's going to be huge.
Well, we've got one of the best in Ontario and Canada, Norm Merriam. I don't know if you know Norm.
I don't know Norm.
Oh my God, he's an amazing video editor. He teaches now up at Canada. I think he used to cut. He used to be primarily a film guy, film editor, and he cut for a couple of the really big name Canadian film producers. And he settled in North Bay, and he's edited a couple of things for me. I've done some short films, actor short films, and he's had his students cut them for me. I send him the raw footage, and he puts it out to his class of 5 to 7 students, and they send me back 5 to 7 different versions, and then I get to choose the one I want, and I pay for the one I want, which is kind of cool. But he does amazing work, and he's right here in North Bay.
Well, I know there's a lot of good talent, and there's good talent, young talent coming out of Canada too. So I wish I'm turning 55 in a few weeks, and I think if I probably started when I was 30, I would have got into video editing. I love it. I can't catch up with the skills, and I got to do other things. But I like piecing together stuff. It's rough, but it's fun. I like that.
Yeah, it is. See, that's something I have no interest in at all. I'm just primarily an actor. Everything I touch like that, I screw up basically. But unlike you, I'm going to be 74 in September. And I wish the hell I had started this acting thing a lot earlier and gone after it instead of staying teaching, because I taught for 32 years. But I started acting when I was 22, 23. So I've had my union card since I was, I think, 26 years old. But now you look at it now and say, gee, what if we were just starting out now? It'd be kind of an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah, no, it would be. Well, to have so much access to being able to produce from A to B, right to the end, yep, with the technology we have, right? Yep. Like it has so much control over the finished product. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I spent a lot of time doing that stuff. I haven't been writing as much. I know that's one of my. No. It's weird. I'm trying to figure it out. But it's funny, through this COVID stuff, I'm pretty opinionated. And I do a lot of research. Right? And I think I know a little bit more than some people sometimes. Like I think I'm ahead of the curve. And but when you just start throwing out, I'd say, qualified opinions, you got to hang your hat on them pretty good, right? And this thing was so all over the map. Every day things were changing. I really couldn't nail it down in my mind. It's been pretty wild. Plus, there's I didn't want to say things that I would regret, because, like, you can imagine being all high on the horse about something and then getting this friggin' thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if like that was Boris Johnson of Britain. Right?
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool.
Did he have to eat some crow, right? Yeah. Now, I've eaten a lot of crow. I've eaten a lot of crow over my career, but that's the piece of crow I don't know if I'd be able to swallow.
Yeah.
Hey, it's safe out there. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just keep looking at the White House and seeing how many people are picking it up over there, because, basically it's under control in the States, according to the president. But I'm not going to start getting political, because I'll have every right-wing person in the world after me.
Well, I knew from the beginning it was very serious. I was telling people in behind the scenes, telling people they should take more, think about it more. And then when it hit, they were like, wow. Did it ever? And I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, we didn't have millions dying like they said." Well, no, because we took it serious. We had that's what stopped that. That the forecast would have been true. Like, people are dying, right? This is serious stuff, and we're not prepared. We don't know how to treat it. We don't even know what it does to you. And all this stuff is coming out week by week. That herd immunity strategy was wrong, and it's still wrong.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's funny. We knew it was serious when we were out in BC, because it started small. We noticed when we were going to the grocery store, some shelves were empty. Then one day, about 2 days before we left, Claire and I were walking downtown Victoria. There was nobody in the street. And we're looking in the windows of the stores, and most of the stores had taken all their merchandise out of the first floor and stored it someplace else. You look in the windows, there was nothing in the stores. And Claire and I both looked at each other and said, geez, we feel like we're in a zombie movie, for crying out loud. There was nobody there. We were the only ones. And that's when we knew it was getting serious.
Yeah, no, and it's going to be serious for quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Of course, I was sort of spinning in a circles trying to figure out what to do with that magazine too. Like,
Yeah, right.
we were going to have our best month ever in April, and if we had another good month in May, like I had already been thinking about maybe we're going to have to go bi-monthly. I would start. February was a little tough. January, after 7 issues, I wasn't too sure, but things were looking up. And I was having to go. I was thinking about going bi-monthly because I couldn't bleed any more money into it, and I needed to go make some money, so I needed time. Well, now we're looking at quarterly, right? And that changes the whole dynamics of the team, who's involved, and because everybody was trying to make a couple of guys on the team were trying to make part of a living out of it, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, but I think it's a good quarterly. But
well, I knew it. I mean, I told you, my friends from British Columbia that were here, and they saw your magazine. They couldn't believe the quality. They said, we don't have anything like that in Victoria or in British Columbia. So I sent them a copy. When you kept putting a free copy in my mailbox, I would mail it to them in British Columbia.
Yeah.
They really liked it. The print, the quality of the paper, the articles, and the stories are great. And they're expats from North Bay, so anything that refers to North Bay, they really, really enjoy. So keep it up. Like quarterly would be fine too, until the economy takes another turn for the better, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna do. Well, our plan is to go quarterly, and we're gonna have a summer issue come out later in June.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be for the summer. We're gonna have a fall in September and a winter in December. And then I'm going to reassess after that,
Good.
Right? So I think that's the smart business move to make. We have what's the word for that? We have a symbiotic relationship with the advertisers, and businesses need to be in business, right? And businesses aren't in business, we're not in business.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is, right? And but I sense optimism, and we've got some really good. Some advertisers are coming in and are looking forward to being in the June issue. We already have about halfway there to pay the hard costs.
Yeah.
And we still have 3 weeks to deadline. So I'm optimistic. Stores are starting to open up. People are trying to do it safely. Hopefully North Bay can get through without a second. We haven't even had a first wave here.
No, we haven't. We've been very lucky so far. But I drive around the city and I see the grocery store parking lots. There's all kinds of cars in the grocery store parking lots.
Well, we eat well here when we're isolated, apparently.
Apparently, yes. I keep looking for bigger pants.
And I would think that a lot of homes have been upgraded because I was talking to a couple of stores at businesses that were open, hardware stores and stuff like that. Big business this spring. Everybody's painting their houses inside. Well, now
you got to do something.
Now, when you're stuck in a house, you're not always stuck, and you start to see what needs to be fixed, right? I've been doing the same thing. I've been busy trying to get some stuff done while I have some free time, something like that.
Yeah.
But things are opening up. I got a couple freelance things coming up next week, and I'm applying for a job that might give me a part-time base.
Yeah.
I'm going to try teaching a little bit.
Good for you.
I've always wanted to try it. It's
like it.
Can't really say what I'm applying for, but it's it's the type of teaching you can get when you have a college diploma. Put it that way.
Well, the thing about teaching. I mean, I did it for 32 years. I taught school grammar for 32 years, and I never wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a writer. That's what I went to university for. I was going to be like Ernest Hemingway and travel Europe and write, and ended up teaching.
Jack London. I wanted to be Jack London. So
yes. Oh, Jack London. I see. That's too much time in the bush with no showers. No, I wouldn't like that. But yeah, and it's funny. I got into teaching and I really liked it. And it probably because of the area that I was interested in. And it might be the same thing for you if you're teaching. What area you're looking at teaching? If it's something.
Ironically enough, business management. When I first went to post-secondary, it was for business, right? I went to the university, business administration. Mm-hmm. Then I had to leave Ohio because I couldn't afford the tuition down there. Yeah. So I came back to Ontario. I tried the business at Cambrian, but I think I was not mature enough, and wasn't ready to sit through accounting classes. Somehow I ended up spinning into journalism because I've always wanted to be a writer too. So
yeah. Like Jack London. There you go.
I tried. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so
funny.
the basic. Yeah. My skill set for journalism has probably allowed me to figure out how to learn something quick and then explain it. And I think that's basically what teaching is, right? So
it is. Well, the funny thing about me is, I mean, I've always wanted to write, but I think since 2000 I started writing short films, and I've been doing that, and that gives me the creative vibe that I need to survive. Yeah. We had a film all set to shoot in April, actually, in North Bay, a horror story, and we've had to put it on the back burner because we just can't get everybody in town, and nobody wants to shoot anyway in this type of weather. So we'll see what the hell happens. But it's frustrating. It's fun writing, but you've got to have an outlet for your writing. It's no use just putting it in a notebook and putting it in a desk. That's the scary part of it. Oh, you'll do well. You'll do well.
Yeah, well, I got an outlet for you. I can set you up with a platform. I'd like to see a series of articles by you. Right?
Oh, really?
I think. Well, you got the expertise, right? And
I got the vision.
I can help you with the writing for that medium.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit different there, and I'll give you some help with some structure and how to go about it. I've learned a little bit that way.
Sounds good.
So I know what you're trying to do with your 3-part series right there, and I'll send you back some notes on what I think might be a good way to go about it, and that might help.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. I just did another one today, and of course it's Facebook, and I'm not really good at electronics. I managed to put it as a story, not as a post. So I had to videotape it and post it as a video on my Facebook page. So I may just take it down and write it up again, but yeah, there's just more stuff about background work and things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
My big deal is I feel a lot of the background actors in Northern Ontario, they get the short end of the stick. They don't know what their rights are, and oftentimes they will do work that's supposed to go to an actor, and they should be paid for it, and they're not getting paid for it. One example is a friend of mine had his daughter, and she was in a scene, and she was told to run through the woods screaming and everything, and they just paid her as an extra. And she should have been upgraded. And when I mentioned to him, he said, well, it was just fun. That's all it was. Well, you have to understand it's a business. It's not just fun. That kid could have made, $1,200 a day instead of 110.
Well, as a former guild newspaper union executive, I think you would make an excellent rep. Does ACTRA have reps that go ahead do that business?
Yeah, they do. They have what are called stewards, and they will work with Josh Bainbridge in North Bay. You might have met Josh, I think.
Oh yeah, I've seen him.
Really good guy. He was in the agency. He's now he's running part of my agency. I no longer do the agency anymore. And Josh is a union steward. So if there is a problem, he's called in and he solves it. And he's really good. Knows the union regulations.
Oh, okay.
I got a call from ACTRA, I guess it was 2 years ago, and they said, do you know anybody that could be a union steward in Northern Ontario and not you, is what they said.
Okay,
so I said, yeah, I understand. So I said, how about Josh Bainbridge? He's a young guy. He's really good. And, I really like Josh, and he's very smart. So they contacted him, and he took the job. And he's, from what I hear, he's doing really well with it. So, yeah, so you need somebody as an advocate for the actors and for the background personnel. I don't know.
You need that voice that's not connected too, because he's restricted to say he's probably kept the job because doesn't have the mouth you do.
Yeah, I think the word you wanted to use rather than mouth was the diplomacy. That's the word.
Oh, he's got better diplomacy. Is that what you want to say?
Yeah, he's more diplomatic than I am. Yeah,
that's exactly. One way.
But yeah, the union, and the other thing is the ACTRA never comes up to Northern Ontario. I don't know how many thousands of ACTRA members we have here, counting our background personnel that are ACTRA members now. But
how many? How many?
Oh, we got thousands.
How many?
Thousands.
Oh.
Yeah. Like when I started here, when I came back to North Bay in 2006, I figured I was never going to work in film again. And then Kids in the Hall came up. And that was the first movie they shot here. And then Bill Plumstead contacted me, and we put together a film called That Beautiful Somewhere. And after that, more films started coming into Northern Ontario, and an industry was built. So there a lot of people who started out as theater actors were introduced to film acting, and they were able to get their union card. So there's a lot of accredited union actors, plus there are accredited background personnel. There, if you do, I forget, I don't know the number of hours you need, maybe 1,500 hours, and you could become a member of the ACTRA background union. So there's a lot of people up here. We need representation in the North, and I've complained about it before. That nobody's up here looking after us, and but what the hell are you going to do?
Complain,
yeah,
you got to complain. Someone's got to be poking the bear, but
yeah, you're right. Now I guess I'm in a position to do it. Now that I'm not an agent anymore, I can poke a lot of bears. So
right on.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes anyway. At any rate, I don't know. Anything else you wanted to discuss, or?
Well, I'd like to work with you at some point in the future, so that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I would think so. We get along well, and I think we both have the same sense of humor, and we're self-deprecating, so we should get along pretty well.
Right on, right on. Well, you can't have too much of an ego in the same room, eh?
Oh God, no.
That's one thing. It's one thing. Life in North Bay, small town, basically, you get humbled and you stay there, and you know what the price is when you forget that you should be humble. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you can still be outspoken, but with a little bit of humility.
Or humor. I find a lot of times humor gets me out of a lot of difficulty. I have a tendency, I've got a big mouth. I've always had a big mouth, and if I see something I don't like, I'll talk about it. And other people say, oh, don't say anything, Jim, just let it go. But I can't do that. But, a lot of times I'm able to laugh it off and say, oh, well, that was a joke that I said or something. And geez, I sound like Donald Trump.
That was one of the reasons why I tried out the stand-up comedy the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Right. I was the readership wasn't appreciating my humor as much as I thought that I needed them to.
Yeah.
The company wasn't going to back me up because people were getting fired left and right for crossing lines, right? So I couldn't trust people backing me up. But stand-up comedy is one of the few places left where you can actually joke around about things and even get a little dark or a little bit, pointed and get away with it. So.
Are you still doing it, or you still want to do it more? Or?
Oh yeah, but I took the winter off because I didn't want to do it anymore until I got better. I started doing some gigs, right, and because of the deadlines with the magazine and some other things, I wasn't putting enough rehearsal in. I didn't have my routine nailed down enough to be out there trying to sell it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get better and have a good routine worth doing for people, right? I had a couple dinner shows and stuff like that, and it was good, but I wasn't good enough as far as I was concerned to be renting myself out, right? So I had a plan going into my 55th birthday, June 14th. I was actually going to have a big show, right? And I was going to go do that all through this winter and get prepared for it. I'm glad I didn't. It would have been canceled.
You wouldn't have had an audience.
But I still want to do it, and I still have some plans to do it. I'm just I'm going to keep my powder dry for a little while and work on the show, work on my routine, find out figure out for sure what I want to do. Might try a few things online now that everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And put a little pieces together and see how it goes. Yeah. But I want to get better.
You did the thing for Woody.
Yeah. The Alzheimer's thing.
Yeah, the Alzheimer's thing. And you were very relaxed. And I think the thing with a comedian, like the George Carlin approach, he was very relaxed. And he was able to get a lot of his points across. You don't have to be, some of the guys that start out doing comedy, stand-up comedy, they feel they have to be way over the top and outlandish and everything. And they don't last long in the business. It's the thoughtful comedians that last, for crying out loud. But I'm not saying you're going to end up like George Carlin. You've got a ways to go yet. But there was a guy who, he was a smart guy, and
he's brilliant.
Yeah. And I
like him. You got to bow to the geniuses like that. I only wish I had a fraction of his talent and smarts, but I love his stuff because he made it real. It was about real things, right? And I like that too. So maybe I'll be like a house leaguer in that direction for now.
There you go. You got your job cut out for you. Good.
Anyways, this is a good talk. We should do it again sometime.
Yeah, love to. yeah, it's easy to, it's nice to actually talk to somebody. I mean, the funny thing is, the only people I see here is it's my wife. I was talking to my wife the other day, and she seems really nice. So
You should take her out.
we can't go out. We might go out in the car for a coffee, and that's about it. Eh? But yeah, you got to have a sense of humor. And I said, somebody said, "How's it going with you and Claire?" I said, "So far, she hasn't stabbed me, so I guess we're doing okay." But it's funny being stuck, always in the house. I'm a people person. I like to be around people all the time, and I find this is a little difficult for me. So when I
You
do
got
it,
to get out. You got to get out though. Are you going for walks and stuff?
oh yeah. We get out. We go for walks, or we'll get in the car, we grab a coffee, and go to the waterfront, and sit in the car.
Okay, yeah.
And we're doing that. But it's we haven't seen the grandchildren. My son Tony teaches in Berks Falls, so he comes up and with his daughter, and they'll sit in the backyard, and Claire and I will stand at the door and we'll chat with them that way. Yeah, that's the best we can do in these times.
It's not bad. Let me give you some of the Dr. Dave stuff I've been learning. Are you taking vitamin D supplements?
Yeah, I do
Good.
take vitamin D.
That's a big thing for protecting yourself for respiratory viruses, whatnot. But oxygen, right? Keep your oxygen up. So make sure you're getting good fresh air, because that's one of the main things, right? Is good quality air and sunshine for if you can. And you look like you're healthy, so you must be eating well.
Meeting too well.
Well, you might want to just slim down a little bit.
I know, right? It's awful. The thing is, when I go out and I buy 25 kilos of flour. That's a lot of flour. Oh yeah. And so I've been baking, and my wife's been baking, and I've always cooked. I'm an Italian cook, and I'm always cooking. But the thing is, we're only two of us, and Claire looks at me and says, "What the hell? You're cooking for 20 people, for crying out loud!" But I can't cook for 2 people. I haven't learned how to do that yet. I think that's my Italian upbringing or something. If you're going to make something, make a lot.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah. So I'll have to watch that. But yeah, no, those are very, very valid points. So vitamin D and the oxygen and stuff like that. It's important.
And exercise. Keep that blood circulating. That's the only thing that's really true, from what I could tell. And you could be as healthy as a horse, and you still can get this COVID and get hurt bad, right? But you want to go into this as healthy as possible. We're all going to get exposed to it. Some are going to get more sicker than others. But the only stuff that every one of the podcast experts that I've been watching and listening to, take care of your body. You're going to need it.
Yeah.
So
just to get through this. Yeah. Too bad I couldn't get one with more hair.
Well, I just trimmed my eyebrows for the first time.
Oh, did you?
Because I didn't realize it, but my girlfriend was saying, like, it's getting pretty thick, and I folded it down and I brushed it down. And I could cover my whole eye with it. Oh. So I got some Ukrainian hair that you might be able to put up top here for you.
Maybe. Well, the funny thing is, I decided I wanted to get a haircut yesterday, so I buzzed it, and I felt really proud. Okay. 1/4 inch, and I thought, gee, it looks pretty good. And I walked downstairs and I said to my wife, I said, "Gee, Claire, look what I did." She says, "Yeah, I know." And so I said, "Feel it." She, yeah, right. Like I can tell that maybe a buzz cut is not for me. One time I did it, she said I looked like Homer Simpson. So I guess I really have to watch out.
Well, Homer Simpson's pretty famous, so.
Yeah, true. Well, yeah, let's get together again. I enjoyed this talk, Dave. There's a lot we can chat about. See what the hell happens.
Okay, so just hit the button that says stop recording.
Okay, I'm going to put my glasses on now. Stop recording. Okay.